welcome to the Moonshine Jesus Show. We are glad you have joined us today for our discussion about James Gunn's first full-length movie in the new DCU, Superman. But before we go too far into that, first of all, I want to welcome my good buddy, Dr. Reverend Caleb Lyons. How are you, Caleb?
Who's that guy? I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, man. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this discussion and this look at Superman. Before we go too deep into it, though, I want to let everyone know and remind you that we are brought to you by the Center for Progressive Christianity. You can find them at progressivechristianity.org. Lots and lots of great resources. Encourage you to do that. We are also brought to you by the Progressive Christian Alliance, which is a diverse, inclusive community reclaiming faith through justice, compassion, and radical welcome, as well as the Christian left, where following Jesus means standing up for the poor, the oppressed, and the truth, no matter how unpopular it gets. So we encourage you to follow all of them. Make sure you're following the Moonshine Jesus Show as well. Before we go too deep in this, we need some adult beverages. If this is going to be fun, we can amp up the fun with an adult beverage, don't you think?
Always.
I like that attitude. So what direction did you go in? What'd you go with?
And I have one with me. It's I've got the Superman of drinks with me because I am in a hotel and I have limited options. So I have got my Superman drink, the Woodford Bourbon, and so I'm just of the opinion that everyone just feels super when they're drinking this.
When they're drinking,
and I plan to feel super very quickly. So,
we do our very best when we travel, and we go with what we have. And bourbon is a super drink for sure. As a matter of fact, my drink has bourbon in it because I agree. It's actually called the Son of Krypton. It's supposed to be blue, but I'm just going to be honest. It looks more like the milk that Luke Skywalker drank. It was supposed to be blue, but I didn't want to keep putting blue curacao in it. So it's blue curacao, it's bourbon, it's cream, and it's a little bit of a sweetener in there as well. So this is the Son of Krypton. So cheers to you.
Cheers, Mark.
That'll do. This is going to be good. All right, we're going to have a quick drop, and we'll catch you all on the other side.
Moonshine Jesus, Moonshine Jesus, Moonshine Jesus, Moonshine Jesus, won't you shine a light?
Welcome back to the Moonshine Jesus Show, where today we're talking about James Gunn's Superman, and I can't wait to get into this. We're going to geek out for a little bit, and then we'll get into the heavier stuff, the theology and politics of Superman. But if you have missed this colossus, I don't know how you have, but if you have, Superman, of course, has been around since 1938. It's had a number of adaptations across different forms of media, including a number of movies. But this is James Gunn's first foray into Superman. And as Mark said, it's really kicking off the new DCU. And so, Mark, I've got to ask you about this movie. I assume that you are like most good Americans who don't like the new Superman because he's too woke, or like good Snyderverse fans who predetermined that this movie was automatically going to suck because Cavill wasn't in it. Is that right?
Well, of course. You know me. That is my profile. Up and down.
I knew it. That's why I asked you.
Yeah. No, I've actually written. Self plug here. I've actually written a newsletter because I have a side fun newsletter called Southern Fried Heresy.
It's great. It's fantastic. Everyone should read it. Yes.
Thank you. But I've written a whole piece on the Super Bros and their way of approaching this. And and my issues with them. I don't understand. This is the part I don't understand. Do they not get that it's the woke part that makes them heroes?
They do not get that, Mark. It's like higher than Superman jumps over a tall building. That's like how far it goes over their head.
How far over their head it goes? I think you're
Yeah.
right, man. I think you're right. So I assume
And
that you feel the
Superman's always
same.
been like the wokest. So whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't understand how they missed that. And I absolutely love that we're back to these roots of Superman.
Yeah.
If you go back to the original, and of course, Superman, like all superheroes, have been through all kinds of iterations, even in the comic books.
Yeah.
But the earliest iterations of Superman felt very much like this Superman, and I absolutely love it, and I am here for it.
Yeah, and I mean, like those early comics, man. Like we forget that Superman was invented by like the kids of two Jewish immigrants who are like writing about the immigrant experience and all. And so, like in those early issues of Superman, where you see Superman like standing up to the U.S. government because they don't have enough housing and that
Standing
kind
up to
of
slumlords. Like it was about justice work. Imagine that.
Justice work. Yes.
Justice work from the person who started the Justice League. That's crazy. I don't know how that happened. It's weird events that connect there. I don't know how.
Okay, so we've determined that you're not a good American because.
Well, we didn't have to go through all of that to get there.
and that you're not a good Snyderverse fan. So because you apparently did like this movie, despite those things that I told you that it disqualified it. So what did you like about this movie then, Mark?
I absolutely loved this movie. I saw it twice already and want to see it a third time on the big screen. First of all, it is that we got back to what made Superman Superman, is that while he was an alien, an immigrant, he represented everything that is supposed to be good about humanity. And he seemed to get it and understand it and live it out and practice it. And I think they did a great job of showing how human he was. And that's the real strength of this entire movie. It was showing that being a human who really is in touch with their humanity and what it means is your superpower. It is your strength. And so they did it. And then let's just go down the whole list, man. The casting was spot on. Every time a new one of the main characters came out, even some of the secondary characters came on the screen, they immediately took the screen over. They all were outstanding. I mean, there wasn't. I mean, I think you can make the argument that Lex Luthor stood out a little bit, and that Crypto stood out a lot. But all the others, were just incredible. They owned the screen. They owned their character. The relationships popped. The music with a gun you expect. And this was so much fun. He picked music I didn't know, but also that fit so perfectly.
Yes, but he also let the John Williams score ground it, though, man. And great. I think that made a difference. That also, I think, kept it real grounded in the Superman feel, and it kept that surge of hope underpinning everything that was happening.
Yeah, and that's another part, is the hope and the optimism of this movie. I mean, we're at right now, we all need some hope and optimism. Who better to bring it than Superman? And who better than James Gunn to figure out how to put that on a screen and have us feel it in every moment? Just brilliant. It's also brilliantly shot. It's a beautiful movie.
It is. That's a great segue. That's about Superman and hope. Into the next question I really want to ask you. It has to do with something that Kevin Smith said, because he's a big DC fan. He's especially a big Batman fan, but he's into the stuff. He penned a Superman script in the 90s that didn't end up getting used, right?
Thank God.
Right. Well, I don't
Everything
know.
about that one didn't sound. Sound like a winner to me.
I kind of would like to see that, I think. But I mean, I guess we kind of got to see a version of it in the Flash, but
Moment
whatever.
of it, yeah.
So Kevin Smith has said that Superman ascends in popularity when our country is in trouble and doing poorly because he helps us feel hope. Is it true, Mark, that during troubling times, what we might need not just Superman, but a lighter, less grim superhero or superhero movie?
Yeah, I think we definitely do, and it's interesting nowadays, because we need that hopeful escapism. It's really interesting. I think Gunn did this, and we might get to this in the next segment. I think Gunn did this really beautiful job of giving us that hopeful, optimistic escapism,
Mhm.
and still managing though to gently take the mirror and reflect real world political stuff in a way that it didn't feel so in your face. You
Mhm.
got it, you saw what was going on, but it didn't hit so hard that it dropped you back down and you lost that hope and that optimism. You were able to kind
Yeah.
of stay in that. And I think we do need that during those times
Yeah.
because something has to refuel us. We need to find every space we can for hope. And movies have always, since they've been around, been one of the main sources for a lot of folks.
Yeah,
What'd
and I
you
mean,
think?
yeah, I think feeling a lighter movie that was more comic booky, I think it felt like what I needed, like what I wanted. It was
I
some
agree.
escapism, but it wasn't, as you said, it wasn't heavy-handed hope either because it was intrinsic to the character himself. Like
Yeah.
Gunn actually understands Superman. And that's been the thing that has driven me crazy for
Yeah.
almost 15 years is that Zack Snyder had no idea who Superman was supposed to be. That Superman's supposed to be a symbol of hope. And as they say in this movie, like, right, I'm human too. And
Yeah.
he's like the most human in some ways, and so
Yeah.
so I think James Gunn understands that. So I want to talk a
I,
little bit. No,
I was
yeah,
just going to say I completely agree. Snyder introduced this hyper masculine Superman. It's one of the things I
yeah,
write about in that little article that I talked about.
yeah,
Um, and if anything, Superman is the antithesis of hyper masculinity. And I
yeah.
love that the Gunn, like you said, saw it, knew it, and understood how to show that to us.
It's kind of like in the Superman comics where if Superman, there's this issue where like it's kind of gotten out of control and like there's a supernova and Superman's able to stop that just by like blowing it out. And like
Right.
if you can put out a supernova with your breath, like what threat is there?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I agree.
and so I think you need a Superman who feels human. You need there to be stakes, right? And
I
so I
think,
think we lost all the stakes with
yes.
Snyder. There's
Yes.
no stakes in his humanity. It
I,
was
I
just
honestly
like
believe I honestly believe with this movie, and people are going to say I'm
yeah,
being all hyperbolic and everything. I honestly think that he has rescued the entire superhero genre because of the opening scene. You
yeah,
and I have talked about this many times before that one of the
yeah,
problems with the superhero movies now is you never feel like there's any risk.
yeah,
It's all performative. It's all look how
yeah,
powerful and is
yeah,
this movie starts off with an injured Superman, with a
yes,
Superman who is in bad condition. And we
yeah,
immediately, even if at first we're like, what? No way. But then you're worried and you're connected
yeah,
and you recognize, okay, from the get go, anything could happen. I
yes,
feel like there's something always at risk here that I don't, and I love that has come back into superhero movies and
yeah.
the humanity of it added onto it. I think this is the way to go, and I think we're going to see a resurgence.
I mean, even man, the fact that it was so smart, I thought, and I was a fan of the casting of Lex Luthor in Crypto. I liked it, but I thought the brilliant thing about this too is that Superman isn't facing off like directly with Lex Luthor, because there's no risk in that.
Right.
What risk is a human being to the but
Yeah.
but the way that Lex Luthor has orchestrated all of this, and it's so far into the movie before they even come face to face, that
Yeah.
you can really feel the threat there. And I thought that was so smart, the way that
Oh,
they played that.
I couldn't agree more. And I think the character of Lex Luthor, that Nicholas Holt, he was incredible. He was
Yeah.
uh, at first I wasn't sure because
Yeah.
the look almost felt weak.
Yeah.
Man, he is so good at conveying that negative, frightening, loose cannon energy and
Yes, he's
megalomaniac.
unhinged. Yeah.
It's incredible at it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to talk. Well, I think I want to talk about, before we end the segment, about some of the criticisms the film has faced.
Mm.
One criticism is that the film was too bloated with characters and story. What do you think of those
I
arguments?
think before you watch the film, it would be easy to say that. On paper, it looks like it's too much.
Yeah.
You got to remember, this is the guy that managed the Guardians of the Galaxy with all of those characters and introducing people we didn't know.
Yeah.
In this movie, it's all characters that, if you care anything about comic books over the last few decades, you know these characters. Mr.
Yeah.
Terrific, maybe not everybody knew Mr. Terrific, but
Yeah.
everyone else,
Yeah.
And no, I think it just shows you his brilliance. You never felt like anyone overpowered the main three. You also never felt like anyone was left out. You felt like you got to know them well enough and understand parts of their story. Each one of them kind of got to own a scene or two, and it didn't feel like it caused a bloated storyline. If anything, it made it a complex but not overly layered storyline, which I really liked. Did you feel like it was too much, or
No, I thought the storyline was great. It was compelling and interesting, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I really liked that, because how often do we just sit there through dull,
true.
predictable plot? But also,
Yeah.
I knew who these characters were, but I didn't give a shit about Hawk Girl or
Right.
Mr. Terrific or even Green Lantern. But James Gunn made me care in the same way they made us care about the Guardians of the Galaxy, because
Yeah.
he knows how to tell a story, Mark. And I mean, maybe that's the thing that we've been missing so much,
Yeah.
is like
And I
actual
think you're
storytelling.
that's right. I mean, he won't do anything until the script is right. That's his
Yeah.
thing. Is his promise for all of DCU. We don't do pre-production. We don't do any CGI work. We don't. Nothing moves forward until I read the script that I go, that's it. Then,
Yeah.
and that way everything is connected back to the storytelling and the character development. And I just absolutely love that, and so glad to see we're getting back to it.
One quick question,
Yeah.
again, about CGI cinematography and some of the controversy around that. So there's this controversial CGI shot of Superman flying, and it was removed from the final cut of Superman movie due to fan criticism, because it felt incomplete and somewhat artificial. What do you think overall about the final project, about the final product, about CGI cinematography, how all that turned
I
out?
think it's fantastic, and I think that complaint was actually false. Almost all of the Superman flying was practical, even though stuff
Yeah.
where he's shooting up and down and right and left, almost all of that was done practical. The scene that I think you might be talking about is the one where his face seemed a little contorted, and that actually had to do with the lens that was being used, and CGI actually corrected it. They were trying to get a particular look, and it made him look a little off, which it's a comic book movie. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
But
and James Gunn said, "This what I just didn't review the trailer soon enough. That's not in the
Yeah.
film. It just,
Right.
it just
That
used
it
an
was
unfinished
never.
shot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I thought the finished product was absolutely fantastic. I love the choices of how they shot it. I'm very, very happy that so much of it was practical, that we
Yeah.
didn't get a lot of CGI, except where you had to have any choice.
Right.
I thought it was. I loved it. How about you? Did you?
I loved it too. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was bright, colorful. All the thing, it got the James Gunn treatment in all the ways that we wanted it to,
Yeah.
visually, in the way that we heard and everything. So I've got a million more questions I'd love to just geek out with you
Yeah.
about for an hour, but we can't do that. So why don't we take a break, have another sip, and come back and talk about theology and politics.
Welcome back to the Moonshine Jesus Show. You're joining us for our Theo Politico segment. Maybe not surprisingly, I'm going to stick real hard to the political perspectives here. I'm sure that there will be plenty of theological issues that also are part of this, but I was really struck by how much political storyline was being played out here. I'm going to start with the fact that Gunn made Superman's immigrant status sort of central to his identity in this movie. And I'm curious, how do you think that challenges or reinforces the way that America currently treats immigrants? And ultimately, that's one question. And kind of piggybacking on it, is this a moral issue or is it a political issue?
Yeah. So I think, as we were talking about earlier, Superman's always been an immigrant story. It was written by children of
Two immigrants.
immigrants who were talking about what it means to like struggle with American identity whenever you are struggling to fit in, and whenever you have
Right.
a different cultural, religious background than other folks around you. And so what they did
Yeah.
was they created the ultimate immigrant, who's not just from another country, but from another world with a whole other culture, and is struggling with this. So I think that Superman, it's not that Superman is woke or right. This is just who Superman
Right.
is. This is
Yep.
his character, that he comes and he struggles to be just like most first generation immigrants do,
Mhm.
struggling with their identity and trying to be as American as they can to embody the best of what America is supposed to be. And
Yeah.
and we often fall short of that, but we often find, I think, those values that we espouse, that we say are so sacred to us, I think we often find them clearest articulated in folks who have immigrated to this country and are trying to live out that kind of life. So I think immigration is certainly a moral issue. It's a biblical issue. The Bible is pretty clear about, I mean,
There
it's
you go.
abundantly clear, actually. The Bible isn't clear about a lot of things, but it's clear about
Real
immigration.
clear.
Treat the foreign born as a native born. I mean, how can it be any clearer? So it's certainly a moral issue. People who have tried to say, "Oh, well, this is just political," you can't talk about this. It's a political issue or whatever, have missed the point. And this big beautiful bill that we've seen, this horrible, god awful, ugly bill, it has created enough funding now, Mark, as you know, to make ICE, if it were a military, to be the 16th most funded military in the world. That is incredibly dangerous. That is
Yeah.
not only a moral threat, but that's a threat to democracy. It's a threat to everything that we've held sacred, and it should terrify us. And so,
It
yeah,
should.
it's a moral issue, 100%. Where
Yeah.
do you land on it?
No, I absolutely agree. I'm glad that he focused on, because he did emphasize it more than we've seen on screen, and I'm
Yeah.
glad it's the right time for it. It needed to be done, and I love the fact that really what it shows is here is an immigrant
Mhm.
who makes us a better place, and
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
is almost, despite the story of conservatives that they try to sell that immigrants make the world more dangerous, it's almost always exactly the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Immigrants almost always add to our cultural experience, add to the value of a society, add to the enjoyment that other people get to have within the society, add to the diversity, and diversity is always a strength. I mean, I love that we are getting to see this, because I do think that pop culture can play a real role in helping shape public imagination and public opinion and the way the public approaches things. And I like that we get to see this with Superman and that it's become an important part. And I'm 100% with you. This is a moral issue.
Yeah, and as
Uh,
you said, Mark, not only are they uh, are they more likely to be safer because they're contributing or all, but as we pointed out there, while we were running our Take Back Christianity campaign, statistically,
what?
the numbers, these
It's a little bit. It's a, I mean, it is undeniable.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Look at the
Yeah.
math, people. Do the math,
Yeah.
people.
The math's pretty straightforward on this one. So yes, and it is a moral issue that has been politicized, and people just use the political thing to try to avoid it when they don't like where the discussion is going. But it is a moral issue, and anyone who gives any kind of care about trying to have a moral society, it should be important to them, and they should always be working on it and standing up and speaking out about it. Kind of related, Superman ends up imprisoned in a
Yeah.
Lex Luthor run detention center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Filled with people who've been disappeared, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's not just sort of comic book fiction. That's exactly what's happening in real life right now with ICE, with the ICE raids, the black site detention centers, families who have had loved ones disappear and they haven't seen them again.
Yeah.
What do you think the film is trying to say by putting Superman, basically the ultimate symbol of justice,
Mhm.
inside of that system? And
Yeah.
then what does it say about us that this kind of dystopia isn't even science fiction right now?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He's the symbol for what truth, justice, and the American way, but
American way,
also,
right?
but
And
also,
he sticks him away in a detention center. I think that there's a lot to unpack there, man.
yeah, as if truth, justice, and the American way have been jailed by Trump and need to be liberated, certainly. But I mean, he's also the quintessential immigrant, and so I
Yeah,
think seeing him in there
we get two
certainly
layers
speaks
of
certainly speaks volumes to what is happening in our society. That we are literally seeing immigrants put in these detention centers. We're literally seeing our democracy, truth, justice, the American way, being put in these detention centers as
100%.
and it's only through cooperation that's able to be broken down. And so what does that say about where we are right now? Nothing good, Mark. I mean,
Right?
it's really bad. I mean, the fact that this bill also gives ICE the ability to show up in religious spaces without
Yep.
a warrant and make arrests, not to identify themselves. I'm not convinced that most of these folks who are dressed up in this regalia are even ICE agents.
Yeah.
So I think
No,
there's
no
pretty
badges,
clear.
no identification, faces
Nope.
covered. Yeah.
Nope, and they won't show it to you
No.
either. So, I mean, I live in Southern California. I have a lot of colleagues who are dealing with this right now, and I was just speaking to one who was talking about interactions with these
Yeah.
groups of folks who are likely not ICE agents. So I think it's ever more important to know your rights. I think then it's really important for us when it comes to election times, especially when we're talking about midterms, that we've got to elect different people who are willing to stand up and fight this battle, because it's dangerous. It's not just like, I wonder if democracy is going to slip away. Like we've got now this militarized presence that can be used to grab people off the streets and disappear them, as you said. And so the only way that we're able to confront this is to do that, is to have courage and confront
absolutely.
it,
and people need to
as
be taking this
legislation.
seriously. People have to be taking this seriously. The poem of First They Came For, please don't take that too lightly right now. Don't think that you're not in danger. They're already talking about, Trump in particular is already talking about taking away people's citizenship, people who have long lines of American births, like they're many down the line. He's already beginning to float the idea, and that's how he always does it. It always starts with one little thing, like Rosie O'Donnell. Like he just floats. Maybe I'm going to take away your citizenship. Seems innocent enough until he starts saying about other people. And it's like, we all have to be careful. This should matter to all of us. It shouldn't matter because it might happen to you, but don't be foolish enough to think it can't happen to you. It should matter because this is, again, a moral issue that we have to start taking action on. The budgeting of ICE is out. That shows you everything about what their plan is. This is a big deal. Something has to be done. All right.
And Mark, maybe just a quick plug for a resource. Everyone should go to the National Immigration Law Center and check out the actual impacts of this bill, because it lays out where the funding has gone and what that means realistically.
I'm going to go ahead and squeeze another question in. This movie is packed full of so many great things. There's so many issues here that we need to talk about. It doesn't exactly name names, but this is another important one that's going on in the world right now that I think we need to just go ahead and put it out there. We'll try to keep it pretty succinct here. But let's be honest, it doesn't name names, but when you've got a war-hungry nation with Russian accents claiming to liberate a smaller region, and detention centers filled with the disappeared, it's hard not to see basically, shades of Ukraine and Palestine. Do you think James Gunn is using Superman to hold a mirror up to modern imperialism? And how do we make sense of a superhero movie being braver about calling out global injustice than some of our world leaders and news reporters?
I thought you were going to say than the church there, Mark.
Well, that too.
I mean, I guess. I mean, certainly, yes. He's using this to hold a mirror up to society, and thank God he is, because we need this. But also, I think it's a sad state of affairs that our politicians, that reporters, that the media, that the church, that they're not being braver on confronting these issues. That said, I think that superheroes, that comics, that all of these characters, when they've been at their best, have been used for exactly this purpose, to hold a mirror up to society whenever society needs that mirror held up because they cannot see their own reflection and adequately describe what they look like at the moment, which is really ugly right now. That sometimes through works of fiction, it can help us do that better, which is why I love superheroes, Mark.
And we're going to end we're going to end this segment right there. That was perfectly said, and I couldn't agree with you more. We're going to take a quick drop, come back on the other side, and join in on our favorite segment, the Make Me Look Stupid segment.
Hello, and welcome back to our final segment of the Moonshine Jesus Show, the Make Me Look Stupid segment, where we ask each other questions, try and make each other look stupid, ask each other questions to find out, something that maybe we haven't understood, or maybe we want to make predictions about something that could happen in the future. And Mark, I'm going to go with that last one.
Predictions. I'm a little worried about
Yeah.
this. Since Gunn doesn't actually know what's going to happen in the future yet, this is gonna be great.
Well, Mark, I think the good thing about this is you have a pretty good track record of your predictions,
Moderately
coming to
good.
fruition. Well, let's put it this way: you've got a better track record than I do
I will give you
because
that. I will give you that.
because sometimes I try to force you to make predictions, and I don't think through all of
That
the
you're
predictions.
it's gonna come
Yeah,
back
that
to you.
yeah, that's right. I don't think that through, and
Right.
and I haven't necessarily thought through what I actually think about this. But today I have, and
Oh,
I have a
good.
question. I have a
I'm going to
question
answer
for
real
you.
short so I can get to your thought through. Because obviously, I haven't had a chance to think this through. So I can't wait to hear what you say. I don't even care what the question is.
So Lex Luthor's detention center in a pocket universe has theoretically
I have
been
theories
closed.
about this.
Okay, good. I thought I thought you might. Does it still exist, and what is it?
Yes, it still exists.
Yeah.
That's what Ultraman got sucked into at the end. That black hole was that pocket universe.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about that pocket universe, from the cells that they were being, so think about the cells that are being held in were square, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The water flowing, the whatever Mr. Terrific called it,
Mm-hmm.
it's supposed to be liquid, but it's all made out of colorful squares.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to become Bizarro World. I think that Ultraman is, because the real Ultraman in the comics wasn't a dumb, mindless kind of recreation like this one was, but Bizarro sort of is.
Yeah.
And he goes to another dimension and creates his version, his opposite version of Earth, and it is a square Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gunn is setting us up for a Bizarro world. I think that's got to be what's going on here. I don't know, but the thing that made me start going, "What the hell's going on?" was the flowing waters being squares.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that seems like a way intentional choice. If you're trying to convey that something's flowing, squares are not your go-to.
Yeah.
But everything in that universe, even the junk that was building up around the time portal, the dimensional portals, were all kind of square and blocky. I don't know. That's my guess. Where'd you go with this?
I like your guess better than mine. I
still want to hear you.
I hope that is what happened. I think it's the Phantom Zone, man. I think that's
a good point.
I think it's going to be the
also lots of like flat squares in the Phantom Zone.
Yes, and it's already been a place that's like a prison and stuff. I think that's where Superman's going to, and the fact that Ultraman gets sucked in at the end, I think that's where he's stuck in the Phantom Zone. I think Superman's going to put people in there. So hopefully,
I think that's I can see that.
But I'd also like to see a Bizarro Superman. I think that'd be fun. And I think most of the time I'd be like, I don't think anyone can pull that off. James Gunn, I kind of think he can pull off.
He definitely can pull
whatever he wants. Yeah.
I mean, on Lois and Clark, the television show, they pulled off Bizarro pretty well. I kind of like.
They were, but the Arrowverse shows, they were really good.
I love them, man.
Me too. And they were so good at the multiverse, and they had enough time and content and context to really be able to pull that stuff off well. I think it's harder to do in a movie where you've got a more finite amount of time.
That's a great point.
Less character development. But yeah, the Arrowverse shows, man, those were great, especially when they were at their height. They were really good.
So good. I agree. Okay, so here's my question. This is kind of this question is going to be clear that my first undergraduate degree was in English with the concentration in film.
Okay.
Lex, why does Lex say he hates Superman?
What? When?
Lex, why does he
Yeah.
say he hates Superman? He says he hates Superman because he's not really a man. Right? He's an immigrant, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
whole reason he says that this is driving him nuts, is that
Well,
he's stealing all the attention and he's not really a man.
yeah. I was gonna say, and the jealousy and he admits that he's jealous.
You know what?
And all that. Yeah.
What if, rather than it's about Superman being and metahumans,
Yeah.
what if it's more about the fact that, and this has got some real world parallels to it.
Okay.
I think the unspoken reality, and I want your opinion on if this could be the case.
Okay.
Is that as the most intelligent man in the world, they're the only people who can stop him from doing what he wants to do. And so he's just using whatever excuse he can to shut them down. I assume that what he wants is to rule the world. And I think we see that happening in real life. I think that that's the unspoken. What do you think? Is it far-fetched that Gunn would have written it that way, where he actually had the characters say something that wasn't 100% true, and that the real motivation was, and maybe even it comes out in a future movie, that he just doesn't want all these metahumans around to stop him because he knows that he can outdo all humans.
Yeah.
And you know, we might know some world leaders who think that is true of themselves and who are beginning to slowly eliminate the people who could actually do something to stop them. I don't know. Am I reading too much into it?
No, I think that's reasonable, because I do think that, like, does he not like that, like, humanity's not the greatest? Sure, because that means that he then is not the greatest. I think it's about ego too.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
I like that.
would he be? But if it were metahuman that were the one that were standing in his way, would he be just as determined to stop that person? Of course he would, because what he wants is money and power. What he wants is to do what he wants. And you're 100% right. I mean, it's not like it's just Donald Trump that is like this, or even just Vladimir Putin that is like this. We have world leaders who are not concerned with the common good, who are not concerned with what is best for the future of the human race. They're only concerned with what is best for themselves, which, I mean, in theory, is the value of a democratic republic, is that it is supposed to help us avoid people like this, because, you know, ultimate power always corrupts, right? And
and it's not surprising that they're trying to break that down and ruin, like, pull away all those systems of check and balances just because of that exact reason. So I hear you. I'm clear.
Yeah.
Well, so I like your perspective, though. Thanks for adding to that. That helps me walk it down and flesh it out a little bit. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Mark. I'm glad to be of assistance. Man, this has been fun. This was such a good movie.
Oh my God.
I love this movie. I'm jealous of you, Mark, because you've seen it twice as many times.
So I need to say to everyone who's listening, the second time I saw it in IMAX, and that's because the first time I saw it, I started noticing a few things, and I realized Gunn wants us to see this in IMAX. So we drove, it's not a real long way, but we drove a little bit further than we normally drive to go to the movies so we could watch it in IMAX, and it is worth it. It is worth it.
Well, okay, next time I'm going to see it in IMAX, and I hope that next time is very, very soon, because this is one of the first movies in a very long time that I like, as the credits were rolling, I'm like, I want to watch that again.
Immediately.
But, you know, we're not going to watch it again for next week. We're going to watch something else. And you suggested one of our favorite shows.
Oh, God, I love this show so much.
I love this show, too. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, season 3. And
this is our middle season. We're only getting 5 seasons. They're contracted through 5, and that's what it's going to be. So this is the arch. We're at stage 3. This is the high point. I cannot wait to see what they're going to do with this.
I can't either because last season was so good. So good.
And I just think this, as big of a Next Generation fan as I was,
me too.
Strange New Worlds, I think, is my favorite iteration.
Me too, man.
By a pretty good amount.
Yeah, me too. And that is hard for me to say because because Next Generation has held such a special place in my heart.
Too.
But there's also something about just Captain Pike. Anson Mount as Captain Pike. He's charismatic. He draws you in. It's a very human show. I love it, and I can't wait to watch season 3 and talk about it next week. So Thank you all for joining us on today's episode of the Moonshine Jesus Show. We appreciate all of you. We appreciate those who support us, our sponsors, and that all of you tune in each and every week to hear us geek out about these shows that I hope you enjoy as much as we do. So we'll see you next time on the Moonshine Jesus Show. Cheers.
Moonshine Jesus.